Hello, everyone. Welcome back to a long time return of Football Focus SG podcast with myself, Ais, and we have ourselves Mr. JB and Hakim. Welcome back to our podcast after many months. How are you guys feeling today?
Good, normal.
Yeah, normal. All right. Now,
It
Mr.
was good.
JB, how are
Thank
you
you for
feeling after the
Um,
basically a final game?
yeah, yeah, I'm feeling a little bit blue, so I gotta say.
All right. So
Yep.
for this episode, basically, we're just going through to do a normal Premier League review on each of our individual favorite clubs and look at other teams. There are a few questions and things that I do like to ask you guys as well. So, in general, I just want to ask, like, if you guys can sum it up this season in one word, what would it be? We'll start with Mr. JB. This season, EPL, in one word, how would you summarize?
In one word, surprising.
Surprising. Okay. Uh, More particularly, why is it surprising then?
Because for all those teams that you expect to do well aren't doing so well, and for all those teams who you're not expecting to do so well, actually are doing pretty well. And including the relegation and all that, which I think you will mention sooner than later. So yeah,
Yeah,
surprising.
true. How about you, Hakim? How would you feel this season if you can describe in one word?
Arsenal.
Arsenal, really? Are you just trying to trying to boast my feels up right here?
I mean, they had one job, just to win a few games, but they just bottled it in the end.
Yes. The historical or the word bottleless is what has been thrown to us, but we're gonna talk more into it. So, with that being said, I'm gonna start with basically the winners, Manchester City, winning the whole Premier League. Are you guys even surprised, Mr. JB and Hakim?
Uh, Not really, but at the same time, they almost lost it. With, Arsenal almost had it.
Yeah, true. I mean, technically, it was in Arsenal's favor at one point of time. But Mr. JB, were you even surprised to see that, Arsenal drop, or were you at one point of time actually feel Arsenal could make it?
Yeah, I actually wanted Arsenal to make it at one point, especially when at one point you guys were what 8 point gap or something.
Yeah, we were 8 point gaps on top. Yeah.
Yeah, so at that point of time, there was a little bit of hope, but uh, I mean, no surprises for Manchester City. I mean, the signings that they made and the progress that they brilliant manager under Pep. So, yep, I mean, kind of expected that City will definitely put up a good challenge, and yep, they eventually managed to win the league.
All right. I mean, if you guys do want to see our predictions, it is still in our link and still in our channel. You can go and check it out. This was done, I believe, 8 months ago. Basically, when the season was only 3 to 4 games only, and there was a lot of crazy predictions. So we started with the relegation with the predictions. I I don't know why I actually went with okay, basically all three of what I went did not go down. I chose Bournemouth, Brentford, and I can't remember who was the last one. It could be Nottingham Forest, I think, but neither of them actually went down. But Mr. JB and Hakim, you guys actually mentioned one team in particular, and that is Leicester being down at some point. So, Mr. JB, I'll start with you. Do you actually think Leicester will relegate this season?
To be honest, I mean, before the season, obviously not. But
Yeah.
I think after the first, like, probably 10 games or so, you kind of see that, they kind of struggle to even string 2 or 3 wins in a row. That's when you kind of like, hey, there's a little bit of a panic button there. So yeah, and they just never seem to recover. But of course, it's not one of the teams that you expect to be relegated for sure. I mean, with the amount of players that they have, and they also are in kind of good hands last season with Brendan Rodgers. So I'm not too sure what went on there. As in what's the difference for this season that they actually have such a bad start. So yeah, a little bit unlucky for Leicester, but it is what it is. It's football.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. That's true. But Hakim, would you agree? Out of the three, Leicester, Leeds, and Southampton, are you actually more surprised that Leicester is the one that actually to go down as well?
Not really surprising, to be fair. Yes, they have good players like Madison, Tillemans, even I would say Soyuncu, all this, but they just didn't perform.
Yeah, but is it really down to the manager? Because everyone blamed Brendan Rodgers, and after Brendan Rodgers left, it's Dean Smith who took over. But with the same set of players, and despite changing managers, still nothing
I
changed.
would say it's the same problem with Chelsea. They just have an off season.
Just
It's
one
just
off season.
it's just a very bad off season. Everything's not working out. The players are not performing. Yeah,
Yeah, all right.
they just can't make it.
Okay. Basically, now, well, you have mentioned about Chelsea. If we look up at the table from the relegation, one of the most surprising names in the bottom half of the table is Chelsea. So, Hakim, I'll let you take the floor here on how would you summarize your Chelsea season this season? I know it's a write-off, I know, but share with us the basically the problems that you guys went through changing managers from Tuchel to Graham Potter to the number of players that you guys signed and the owner change and everything. There are so many things happening in that club. So
I
share with us.
mean, definitely with the management change, there's a lot of changes, of course, from managers to management, players wise especially. But I don't know, Chelsea is is the kind of team that they can win the Champions League, they win Europa League one season, 1 or 2 seasons, then suddenly go to mid table, but eventually they're just gonna win something randomly. They are just a big club but an underdog club. You don't see them coming. Like for City, Liverpool, all this, you will see them winning, try to win something. Whereas Chelsea, you just forget about them. Suddenly they win the Champions League or something.
All right, all right. I mean, Mr.
I
JB,
mean, they have interesting signings. In the future,
it's a lot of
they've made
signings.
a lot of interesting signings, I would say.
It is definitely. But Mr. JB, will you agree with what Hakim said that Chelsea are just one of those that they have one off season and the next season they can actually win a lot of things.
Yeah, I mean, lately, if you look at the trend, I think I saw a poster somewhere online, which actually showed, I think the last 10 years, actually the most successful English club is actually Chelsea in the last 10 years. If you look at the number of major trophies won, across the board between EPL and Champions League and all that, FA Cup, etc. So, yeah, I mean, Chelsea is one of those clubs where, I don't know, as of late, they are slowly becoming like a sort of like a trend. Like they will have one bad run, and the
Yeah.
next season they will change everyone from the backroom stuff, buy all the best players that they can, and then try to win something, which they usually have some success, and then followed by another slump. So it's more like, I don't know. I'm not too sure what Chelsea's long-term run is, but it seems like ever since Roman takeover and now it's the American owner. What's the guy's name? Bowley, is it or something?
Todd Bowley, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it seems like Chelsea's recipe of success has always been short term, and that is, you know, we just put out the best out there and then try to win something, and then try and get another reset and then repeat. So yeah, I'm not so sure whether that will be successful in the long run, but I mean, at the end of the day, in football, you just have to win titles and trophies no matter how you did it. So yeah.
All right. I mean, this is where I'm actually gonna take a little bit credit here. If you guys look back at our predictions, I actually predicted this on point, except for the position, of course. Nobody in the world will ever expected Chelsea to finish 12th. But I predicted Chelsea's gonna implode this season. Chelsea's going to crash for some reason. I actually predicted that, but I put them 6, which is still somewhat modest looking at how bad it is. I think if any Chelsea fan here that I put them 6, they will take it at the moment. But yeah, I think I'll take a little bit credit for that. But moving up to the table, which is where things get a little bit interesting. We mentioned in our predictions of our 5th, 6th, 7. I mentioned Newcastle to be featuring more in this. They went above my expectations. But however, I did put Chelsea in 6th. I did put Man United in 5th, and 7 to be Newcastle. So basically, none of them were right again. None of them were right. But this is where I'm gonna applaud to Mr. JB. Again, if you guys go watch, he mentioned this himself. He mentioned Brighton to finish 6th in this season and Liverpool to finish 7. And I believe 5th is I can't remember who you say 5th, Chelsea, I believe. But yeah, but for someone to make a bold prediction, Brighton to finish 6th, 8 months ago, that is an outrageous claim. But fair play, Mr. JB. How do you feel about that prediction you made?
Wow, I must say thanks for the reminder. But yeah, even if you had to ask me right now, what was my prediction 8 months ago, I'll probably give you a different answer. But yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
who would have thought? Even I wouldn't have known that Brighton would finish uh sixth and above Liverpool at that, right? Was that my prediction?
your prediction was Brighton to finish above Liverpool, though Liverpool finished 5th, Brighton 6th, Aston
Right,
Villa was
right,
7,
right,
which we're gonna
right,
get
right.
into in a moment with some of the teams. But your Brighton was spot on with 6 and a surprise
Yeah,
candidate. So yeah, like how do you see them coming from for Brighton? When at that point of time, to be fair, you predicted this when Graham Potter was still at Brighton before
exactly,
he moved
exactly.
to
Spot on.
Chelsea.
Yeah, spot
So
on. The only reason why I put them at six is because of Graham Potter. I thought he was the right man to actually lead them, but then again, it's quite amazing because who's their new manager? I'm sorry, I don't
De
know his
Zerbi,
last name.
Roberto De Zerbi.
Yeah. Roberto Zerbi. I think he deserves all the credit in the world right now because the fact that when he took over Brighton, people were having questions, and the fact that he has players at his disposal, and then halfway through, we remember about the Trossard incident and all that.
Yeah,
So to be fair to him, to give all the credit that he has, I think he's one of those outstanding managers, and I think one of the most underrated ones. So what I'm saying, props to him and Brighton, of course, and myself for
yeah,
predicting spot
definitely.
on
But
Brighton six.
but
Yeah.
Hakim, looking back now, you were with us during the prediction. Were
Yeah.
you surprised to see Brighton to finish 6, exactly like what Mr. JB said? And how would you make the 5th, 6th, 7 position, which is Liverpool, Brighton, Aston Villa? I believe you make a prediction as well, which I believe you put Chelsea to be 5th as well, together with Mr. JB. Very surprising. I remember you put your own Chelsea to be 5th
Mhm.
or 6th, or Man United to be 5th. I can't remember. I think Man United was 5th, Chelsea 6th, and 7 was probably Newcastle or something like that you put. But how would you make your prediction and now what you're seeing?
Definitely Brighton is a surprise finishing placement,
Yeah,
but well deserved with how they've played, and especially for Newcastle to actually make it to the Champions League.
yeah. I mean, for Newcastle
It's
to
a
make it,
very unorthodox season. It's very different, I would say. But then
yeah,
again, it's what makes the Premier League the most interesting because other than the usual City winning the league or the battle between Arsenal, United, Liverpool to
yeah,
finish
the big
second and third,
6. Yeah, yeah.
they will always have the random underdogs from Leicester to now Newcastle, Brentford especially.
Yep. Brentford was very impressive. And like Aston Villa, credits to them as well. They finished seventh when started off at the bottom and Steven Gerrard got sacked to immediately a champions form, which is what they have. Yeah, so I think we can move on to the top four, which is what we all predicted. Again, if you guys want to check it out, do check it out. So I predicted Man City to win, as we all did, but I put Liverpool second, Arsenal third, Spurs fourth. Whereas Mr. JB, I know you put your lovely Man United first, second Arsenal, which is again another spot on prediction that is wild before all this were happening. And you put third Man City and fourth to be Spurs. While Hakim, I believe you put Man City first, Liverpool second. I'm not sure who's your third and fourth. Probably Arsenal and Spurs as well, I think, around there. So I'm gonna go back again to Mr. JB. Again, how are you doing this? You put Arsenal second and they got second. What did you make of your prediction and looking back now that Man United is third, Arsenal second, Man City first?
Yeah, I mean it's crazy now that you mention all of that because yeah, to be very honest, I think back then the variables were very different. I
Yeah,
put Arsenal second, probably because yes, I do see some kind of potential. Of course, when I put Manchester United being first, it's just pure bias, so we all know that. But yeah, I feel that Arsenal do have what it takes to compete, you know, at their best because I feel like Arteta really spent I think this season is probably his third season, I guess.
yeah.
Yeah, so after three seasons with the same manager, I believe any team would definitely have some sort of progress. So that's probably why I think I put Arsenal as second in
I
the
mean, to
league.
be fair,
Of
even
course,
I'm
yeah,
as an Arsenal fan, I'm an Arsenal fan, and I don't put myself second. I put myself
yeah, yeah,
third. But for
yeah,
you to get second and got it right, which baffles me and surprised me.
yeah. I mean, that's the thing about Arsenal fans. You guys are too humble. But yeah, hopefully next time you guys can be a bit more bolder. Despite the disappointment, you know what I'm saying. I mean, again, this season, like what you asked earlier, it sums up the word surprising very well because even like what Haki mentioned, Newcastle, I think Newcastle is like probably the best uh underdog team to finish like even in the top four. I don't think anyone would even predict it for them to finish in the top six even, or to even qualify for Europa.
Yeah.
But Newcastle managed to qualify for the Champions League, and you have clubs like Liverpool, Chelsea, Spurs who do not qualify for the Champions League. So, who would have thought? Who would have known?
It is. Who would have thought? Now, Hakim, I got a question for you. I mean, one thing common between all three of us in our predictions is that I believe we all had Spurs in the top four of our prediction, and they ended up eighth. They had a massive implosion with their manager Conte. We all thought they have the best summer transfers window because they signed like Bissouma from Brighton and like Richarlison. They bought
Honestly, I
Bentancur
didn't
and all that.
think the transfer was that good. It was okay, but nothing that good.
Nothing that, but all of us put them in the top four. So where do you feel it fall off? The manager fall off, the players fall off, a bit of everything, or is it just the chairman?
I I feel like it's just everything. Son Kane wasn't really performing when they
But
needed
Kane
to.
got 30 goals this season.
Yeah, but again, he scored, but not where it mattered.
Ooh. Would you agree,
Like
Mr. GB?
like the game. I think the game against Brentford, he scored that very nice free kick, but in
Yeah,
the end they still lost.
yeah, I get what you mean. I get what you mean.
Like there's no point you score 30 goals like one goal per game, but you don't win the game.
True,
It's
true.
a
It's a team game, yeah.
yeah, it's a team game. Son the game wasn't performing, and of course they lost their goalkeeper Loris.
Yeah,
They don't really have a solid defensive and midfield line anymore, I would say.
yeah, true.
Let's see. What's I forgot what's there. Let's
But
see
Mr.
the other
GB, what
side.
do you think about it then? What do you think of Spurs? Like, all of us put them in
Spurs.
top four,
Uh,
and
I mean, Spurs. I would say Spurs is one of the most underwhelming teams this season. All right. Let me just put it out there. I think if you want to compare, I mean, like what you said, we all predicted them to be top four even
yeah,
because I think last season they did pretty well.
yeah,
Um,
they're
under
out of
Conte
Europe for the
again.
first time in a while. So
Yeah, exactly. And then Conte still remains right as
yeah,
their manager. So a lot of things are great. They got all their signings before. I think even before the preseason tour.
yeah,
So the coach have all the time in the world, to get his tactics right. He get his players. I'm not sure if those are the players that he wanted, but I assume so. And yeah, so basically the coach have all the time in the world, but for some reason, when the league started, they're always at the back foot. For Spurs, they're always losing. They're always chasing behind games, and then only at the last minute, like 85, 90, 95 minute injury time whatsoever, and then they try to sneak in a win or probably steal a draw or whatsoever. So I must say Spurs is like have to be like one of the most disappointing teams this season right now. I mean, and Conte like imploding a few times, the press
although
conference and
I
all
mean,
that.
to be
And
fair,
then
like when before Conte had that massive implosion of that match interview, after match interview, they were still in top four. When Conte was still there, they were third or fourth. But the moment Conte left, they dropped down to eighth and out of Euro. The massive drop that they had. I mean, you can tell me that Conte is a problem, but when Conte left, they got worse. So is
yeah,
Conte
yeah, for
really the
sure.
problem?
For sure. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, it's very difficult. I mean, I would say Conte is a problem perhaps in the first half of the season when he's in charge,
Yeah,
because you are the man on the driving seat. You got to know what goes on. But at the same time, if you look at the team, you're like maybe in training they did so well, but in actual game, they couldn't execute his game plan or something like that. So it's really strange. And then the worst part was like what you said, after the implosion and all that, they changed to the I forget what's the second coach that came in. It's Conte's assistant, right?
it was Conte's
If
assistant.
I'm not wrong.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
Conte's assistant. I can't remember his name, but even he got
Yeah.
sacked. And then Ryan
Yeah,
Mason.
yeah, exactly. And then even he got sacked, and then they took good old young Ryan Mason to take charge. I mean, to be very frank, I think something is wrong with Spurs from the top down. Even the owners and everybody else, because we all remember the famous fiasco that he did of firing Jose Mourinho right before the final,
Yep.
right
Yep.
before a cup final, right?
Yeah.
And that is just crazy. I mean, you don't do that. And then the same thing for Conte, you know what I'm saying? I mean, okay, because Conte imploded, mentioned his name and stuff like that. And then obviously he gets the boot. But then, you can tell that Spurs isn't ready yet. Even up to now, as we speak of recording, we don't know who's who's their manager at this point. We don't. I mean, there were some names thrown in and there, before this. They mentioned Pochettino and whatsoever and all kinds of names, Nagelsmann, all that. But
Yeah.
up till today, it's all question marks. So you see, I think Spurs is just going down the hill, and this will be worse for them. They will really roll down, especially when next season, I foresee Harry Kane leaving, I foresee Son leaving. So
Yeah.
man, I think Spurs will be going through an overhaul.
I mean, it's gonna be a massive overhaul for whoever who steps in, but now kind of goes back to Chelsea again. I'm sorry, we are talking too much about Chelsea at the moment, but hey, we're gonna touch on other teams in a while. But
I
we're
mean,
speaking about Spurs to Chelsea, which is the one manager that now kind of has common in between now, and that's Pochettino coming in to Chelsea, not joining back Spurs. I mean, Hakim, how do you feel? Like for Chelsea fan, do you see this as a huge potential for you guys to go back on top to where you guys belong?
okay. The thing about Chelsea again, like I said, they are very inconsistent. They are the most, I would say, random team out of the top six. They can, like I say, they can win one trophy this one season and completely just drop off the next season, regardless manager or not.
Yeah,
But the new signings like Enzo Fernandez, Murdic, I mean Koulibaly technically for fun. I mean they're all good, interesting
I mean,
signings.
you guys have Nkunku coming on, top scorer of
Yes,
Bundesliga, by the way.
So if these players can fit, yeah, it'll be good. It will be a very interesting Chelsea team, lah, to say the least.
I mean, it is definitely. I mean,
on Ultimate Team it's gonna be fun, but still.
yeah, I mean, I don't think Pochettino's gonna come in to sign any more players, would he? Because there's so many players there. But I mean,
he
prediction wise, we're gonna do some more prediction in the upcoming one, so not to worry about it. Basically, now we can ask Mr. JB to finally unleash he's been waiting for this, basically. Share your thoughts of Man United season this season. How do you feel, Mr. JB?
Oh, thank you, thank you. I'm glad you gave me the spot. Well, to be
Well, we
very
have
honest,
to see it, right?
to be very honest, I'm very happy with this season. I would say that I never expected to finish top three. That's for sure.
You said
It has always,
first. How can
yeah.
you?
Of course. Like what I said earlier, right? I
Yes,
said
yeah.
first because of bias.
All right, all
You know what
right.
I'm saying? So, yeah. It'll be nice if they finish first. But I mean, I'm very proud of the team. I'm happy for the team because I think we played the most matches in the entire England club roster. I think we played the most number of matches, like almost one game every 3-4 days. Um, so because we were in most of the competitions before we get knocked out of the Europa and all that. So yeah, and let us not forget it's Eric Ten Hag's first season.
Yeah, and what a
Uh,
season he has to go through, like with the Cristiano Ronaldo
yeah,
saga, Mason
yeah,
Greenwood,
exactly.
not to mention, and a whole team changing left and right. It is
Yeah, for me,
quite a season.
yeah, it is. It is an eventful season, and you can see how the manager decides to run things. His season is not smooth sailing. We all know the Ronaldo saga. At the
Yep.
same time, I applaud the way he handled that. At the
Yeah.
same time, I also have to applaud the way he handled the Harry Maguire saga as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's not easy. And then, of course, in between, he also handled the Jadon Sancho saga as well, where he disappeared for a short while, have a short break, and all that.
Yeah.
So you can see there, like almost like three different personality, but it's all coming from the same guy, right?
Yeah.
And and to be very honest, if you look at his signings also, I wouldn't say that he get all the players that he wanted, but at least like what? How many of his season transfers are actually made? I think he only made like three signings, I think.
I mean, one of the main signing of the season that everyone has claimed now is Casemiro. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So to me, he made like probably 3 or 4 signings max, which is the main ones, and then one is probably a squad player. Malacia is a squad player; he's still young, so let's not count that. But yeah, he did sign Casemiro. He signed Christian Eriksen, and he also signed, of course, I think the one that we missed out the most in the later part of the season, Lisandro Martinez. Um, oh yeah, sorry, and also Varane, right? So there's
yeah.
4. Yeah, yeah, correct. So those are the players that he signed. So you can tell that for Man United, historically wise, for us to really get top, like what I predicted, we need at least 1 or 2 quality strikers, which we don't have this season.
Yeah.
So no surprises there. Um, we don't have a proper striker. It's always Rashford going up top, or if not, we gotta rely on Martial, or if not, we gotta end up with the player that he loaned, Weghorst. So
Yeah.
yeah, like what I said again, just to sum it up, um, a very good season for Ten Hag, a very good season for Man United. Yes, as of this recording, I'm still sad and disappointed that we didn't win our rivals in the FA Cup final. That one is a little bit too far fetched at the same time because, to be very realistic, if you look at the squad of Man City and you look at the squad of Man United, right,
Yeah.
especially the one who started, right,
Yeah.
I think the only
Okay.
surprise Yeah, I think the only surprise of the Man City lineup yesterday night was probably just the goalkeeper, right? Because Ederson didn't start. But other than that, everybody else in the team is quality. It is quality. The moment you look at the midfielder, you're looking at Fred, Casemiro, Eriksson against Gundogan, Kevin De Bruyne, and probably who's the one more guy in the middle?
Rodri?
Rodri, I think.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, Rodri. So you look at those three against Fred, Casemiro, and Eriksson, you can tell already that it is
The
gonna be
levels of difference. Yeah.
really,
I mean,
yeah, it's gonna be a quality of difference there. But at the same time, I'm glad it's not trashing. I'm glad it's not, too far from margin. Haaland did not score.
Yeah.
So, I think we did a pretty decent job yesterday, despite losing the final. Of course, it's never nice to lose. Uh, Being a football team, you always want to win, right?
Yeah.
It is what it is. But to me, for Ten Hag, let's just sum it up. He get third in his first season. He managed to get into one cup final, and he managed to win one trophy, the Carabao Cup. So all in all,
Yeah.
for first season, I think brilliant, brilliant from him, brilliant from United. And at the same time, I really hope he brings back the Manchester United DNA. Like City, we're buying all the best players. We don't want to be like Madrid, PSG. Just open up a blank check and sign up everybody. We're not.
uh,
I really hope that Ten Hag he start using the youths like Garnacho and all that, all the up and coming youths, and at the same time blending with the signing and continue the Manchester United legacy. Hopefully.
All right. I
I
mean,
mean,
that's pretty
I
much
mean,
also.
if we talk about Man City on the, you mentioned about them buying so-called like the best players out there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I don't know. All right. Wait, let me take a look. What were their recent purchases? Because to be fair, you can't really say Jack Grealish is a top
I mean,
player.
Man United, I
Ziyech
believe
is
their
good, but
last signing was Anthony, the latest
Yeah.
one, let's say. I think Anthony was pretty much the latest of latest. I'm not sure if January Man United signed anybody.
No, no. In January, we only got the loans of Wegos and Sabitzer.
Yeah, like loan signings and
Yeah.
like
yeah,
what
but
else? Man City kind of, I
compared to
guess, kind of have the
City,
core, I guess.
they only had Haaland as the really big news signing.
Yeah,
Other
I
than
mean, really, that's all they need, right?
Kanji, Alvarez, but other than that, I see their recent players. Nothing that big. It's all really just squad rotational or really youth players.
Well,
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
I mean, at the end of the day, for Man City, I feel the reason why they have the edge this season against all the other teams is their squad depth. It is what
Yeah.
it is. They
yeah.
they
I
they
mean, they
have the
can
squad depth.
afford to rest the likes of
Yeah.
Kevin De Bruyne.
They can
They can
afford to rest.
afford to rest the
Yeah.
like of Haaland. Whereas
Yeah.
we as
Exactly.
other teams can't afford to do that. Then
Exactly. I mean, if you look at their bench, right, in the FA Cup final yesterday, they can afford to rest Julian Alvarez and Riyad Mahrez, right? Players that easily would have started in any EPL
any
teams
other
in their first
team,
11.
yeah,
Yeah. Exactly. They'll be starter, those two, right? But they're on the bench. You know what I'm saying? So it shows that the squad depth is already there. It is what it is. And yes, I mean, of course, in terms of signing, yeah, people may say, oh, they only got Haaland, or they only got by like one or two. The rest are squad players. Yeah, but those squad players are being bought too, probably 2 or 3 seasons ago.
Yeah. Another thing
Yeah, I
about
mean,
City, though, I feel that if they
mm,
don't win the Champions League this season, it's a good season, but I feel you still failed overall because you naturally you win the FA and the Premier League, but this Champions League is really their so-called their finish line, their golden ticket. They really need this Champions League to really make this season mean something because this is honestly I would say one of their easiest Champions League finals.
yeah. I mean,
Like
yeah,
I
yeah,
they,
think
they
spot
Man
on.
gotta
United
win.
is in Europa for the past 2 seasons, I think, and like I think the biggest issue I think everyone can understand and see is that you can see how relaxed Man City is. The levels again, the levels that we're talking about is um like how Arsenal was on top all the way before Man City can just easily just walk over and just take the title just like that because they have no pressure. That's the elite mentality of in them right now, being instilled by Pep. Pep Guardiola instilled them with this elite champion mentality that it's okay, just play your game, win each and every game, be in each and every final. which, okay, other than Carabao, wait, who did Man U win in Carabao? I can't remember who Man U win in Carabao, but I know Man City is in FA Cup, in Champions League final, and they won the whole Premier League. So I guess the levels are a lot more different in terms of how strong Man City can be, but they kind of take the foot off from the gas in Premier League so that they can focus in Champions League. I mean, that's my take for it. Yeah. So basically, I guess we'll take this opportunity now to talk about Arsenal a little bit. Okay. Before anyone start the debate whether Arsenal have a better season than Man United, if you talk about Premier League, Arsenal has a better season than Man United. If you talk about overall with like other competitions, Man United is better. Can we agree on that, Mr. JV?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you look
Correct.
at it overall, yes, you're right. Of course,
Yeah,
if you look
because in
at
overall, we were out of Europa way earlier than we should. Man
Yep.
United is the progress before
That's
they were
right.
out. And Carabao, of course, we were out. FA Cup, we were out very early as well. So there's no other reason other than putting everything to the league. And I believe Arsenal has put everything to the league. Just that crucial moments, crucial times, and a little bit of naivety from the players and managers kind of ruins a little bit. I think they could not handle the pressure of being top. However, if you ask me, if Man City were to be on top and Arsenal second, I'm very sure Arsenal can actually chase Man City all the way. I'm very sure. It's just the pressure of them being on top for very, very long has gotten to them and they just crumble. I mean, what do you guys make of Arsenal season? Let's start with Aki.
They had a good run, but again, they just bottled against the smaller clubs. They really did bottle a lot of games.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
And of course, like you say, Arsenal can't really compete with the squad depth and mentality that City has, because you can clearly see City have a winning mentality under Pep. And of course, the squad depth, like you see the game against Chelsea, the whole bench was really their starting 11.
Yeah.
Like, one cannot deny that City is a very superior team, something that Pep has built. Like, a lot of people say, Pep, he gets a good team, a well, already built team, I would say. But if you really
Yeah.
look at it from another perspective, you see that
Yeah.
he actually molds these players, like not say Jack Grealish, let's say like Bernardo Silva.
Yeah.
They were good players, and under Pep, they became great players. Rodri, Cancelo, when he came to City, he had a few good seasons.
Yeah, true. I mean, I can understand where you're coming from with this. I mean, okay, I think it's
Oh,
kind
Gundogan
of
is good. Gundogan.
like I mean,
He's like Toni
100%
Kroos.
credits to Pep. Credits to Pep 100% because he made Man City as elite as what it is. But I guess what's the one thing that every other team are mentioning at the moment is that when Pep took Man City, it's not like Man City has never won Premier League before. They have. They won under Mancini. They won under Pellegrini. They have won Premier League before. So it's not really Pep coming in a team of crisis. Whereas Arsenal was in a crisis at one point after Wenger left. And Unai Emery comes in and there was a bit of a problem. And then Mikel Arteta steps in. Same thing with Man United when there was problem after Ferguson left for a long historical time. They changed from Mourinho, Van Gaal, Ole, and all that, but they're still trying to find the right manager and the tune for it. Same thing with Chelsea. I mean, no offense, even though Chelsea were winning things, but you guys are not as elite as Man City, which you guys can agree. Like day in and out, season in and out, just competing for the top level. You guys can have one season off and then one season you guys go again. So when Pep comes in, like what you said is true. They take a very good Man City team and make them into a superior Man City team, which it's something that only Pep, who is the best manager in the world as we speak, can do that. Yeah. So I think that kind of wraps up a little bit of our Premier League season review. I mean, do stick around, people. If you are listening this through Spotify or watching this through YouTube, we're gonna have part 2 where we're gonna discuss a little bit, do a little bit tier list maker and a little bit of a game. So do stick around. And now we're gonna have a short award ceremony by Football Focus SG. So what is this award ceremony? I'm gonna give you guys a basically nominees of players and managers, and then we three can discuss who should be the winner. So now let's start with the most simpler one, all right? The most overachieving team of the season. So these are my 4 candidates. I mean, we can push up to 5 if you want, which is Newcastle, Brighton, Aston Villa, Brentford, and Arsenal. Now, reason why I put Arsenal is because nobody expect them to be fighting for the title. I don't think anyone has. Everyone says this Liverpool, Man City to fight for the title. Arsenal is a outside shot, not for the title, just for the top 4. But they surprise everyone, overachieving. Aston Villa, Nimi Rese, they were from bottom 18 up to 7 qualifying in Conference League. That's an achievement on its own. Brentford, Thomas Frank, everyone tipped for them to have second season syndrome, to be out and relegated, but they achieve up to 9 above Chelsea and all. Brighton, of course, we have spoke highly of them being 6 in Europa, and Newcastle managed to reach Champions League. So now, Hakim, out of these 5 teams, who is the overachieving team for you?
When you say overachieving, like you mean in a good way, they achieve more
In a
than
good way.
Newcastle?
In a good way. Like overachieve like what people expect. Nobody expects Newcastle to reach top 4 immediately, but they did. That's overachieving.
I would say definitely Newcastle.
Newcastle. All right, Mr. JB. I gave you the nominees. Who would you feel is the most overachieving team this season?
For me, overachieving, I'll give Brighton, man. I'll give Brighton. Brighton.
Wow. I actually gonna give it a Newcastle as well, because I think everybody just picked Newcastle to be in Europa or Europa Conference, but what Eddie Howe did to be comfortably in 3rd and 4th for throughout the season without any trouble, that's an achievement alone. And the players and one thing I like is that the players that he bought are sensible. They have all the money in the world. They can buy whatever they want. But what Eddie Howe built, it's sensible, it's realistic, and it's actually achievable. You can see. So I'm sorry, Mr. JB, but I think we're going to give you Newcastle for this one. Next one, we're going to move on to the underachieving team of the season. Basically, team that are performing below par, should have been performing better with the squad that they have, but they didn't. So here are the 5 nominees. Chelsea, I'm sorry, you guys are number 1 in that list. Everton might be surprising because last season, yes, they did kind of run away from relegation, but nobody tips them to be fighting again for relegation. So, put them there. Leicester is another one. West Ham, who is initially last season were in a conference like 7 or 8 around there, 6, 7, 8. But for them to finish 14, which is quite surprising. And lastly, I guess we'll put Spurs there, because Spurs was from 3rd, 4th to finish 8th, which is quite underachieving. So Mr. JB, out of the 5 teams I gave, Spurs, Chelsea, West Ham, Everton, Leicester, who is the most underachieving one for you?
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't put Liverpool inside. I wanted to say Liverpool.
I mean, Liverpool did finish 5th. They were outside of the top 7 for a long time before they actually have a last-minute chase.
Yeah, they were. But I mean, looking at the signings and the circumstances that they are, it is kind of somewhat underachieving, really. I mean, to be knocked out of the Champions
We'll
League
include
that early,
Liverpool in.
so
We'll include Liverpool in. Then out of the 6 club, which is I have my take. I'm sorry, Chelsea. You guys are underachieving so much this season.
yeah. I think for me it's close. It's definitely between Chelsea or Liverpool. I would say Spurs is just being Spurs, so no problem
I
there.
actually want to say Liverpool, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, I would say
Wow.
Liverpool. Yeah,
Because Chelsea is kind of expected, you don't expect them to be consistent based on their past record. That's the thing. So you want to, yes, they underachieve, but it was expected to underachieve. Whereas Liverpool, you don't expect them to be outside of the Champions League, especially with the squad that they have and their got recent successes in finishing.
yes, that's right. And the fact that they lost out in the FA Cup, in the Carling Cup, and let's not forget they actually got knocked out pretty early in the Champions League this season as well, compared to
Yeah.
Chelsea. I believe Chelsea actually managed to go through the next round because they won against Dortmund or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say
Like as for
Liverpool.
Chelsea, they, again the inconsistency, the managers, the players, and especially with new management, I wouldn't say they underachieve, but they kind of just are being Chelsea. Like in a way, like Arsenal and Spurs are known to just drop off randomly, and
Yeah, I
City to
get it.
win the
It's
league.
expected, I guess.
They're expected.
Yep,
The,
that's
the
right.
only
That's right. Yeah.
unexpected is Liverpool.
Yep. I
That's
think I think I think the only fair point that you can make is if Chelsea were to finish this low still under Tuchel, still under Thomas Tuchel, then yes, then you probably can say that Chelsea is the most undeserving team or the most surprising one. But looking at the number of manager changes and all that, you don't really expect them to really bounce back. But Liverpool, however, they are in the same variable for the longest time. They signed Cody Gakpo. They got a few players. They still
Yeah.
have Salah and all that.
Yeah. I
So
mean, you did
you know,
mention the seven season syndrome, so
yeah, exactly. People are saying seven season syndrome for Klopp and what have you, but the players are there, and you can see like what you said. Probably the last 10 games before the season end, they finally managed to pick up the pace, but still not good enough to be finishing outside the Champions League. And the fact that they got knocked out of the Champions League pretty early, I think the FA Cup as well, and also the Carabao Cup. So, you know, it is
right. I mean,
disappointing, really.
fair point to you guys, and both of y'all have agreed with Liverpool. So Liverpool takes the underachieving. I mean, if any Liverpool fans disagree, do comment down below or anything. But now for the final one. I mean, just gonna keep it short and simple for this one. All three teams that were promoted this season are staying up, and that is Nottingham Forest, Bournemouth, and Fulham. Now, out of these three, which one is the most surprising team for you? I'll start first again. And as much as I'm very close to say Fulham or Forest, because Forest with a crazy amount of signing, Fulham, well, they are a yo-yo team. Initially, everyone thought they're going to be like Norwich, just up and down. But Bournemouth, my God, they prove everybody wrong. From 9-0 down with Scott Parker, and they changed manager to Gary O'Neill, and to stay up in Premier League at 15, higher than Everton. Bournemouth is my pick. But Hakim, I'm gonna go to you first. Out of the three new teams that stay up, which one surprises you?
Wait, so Bournemouth, Forest.
Bournemouth, Nottingham Forest, and Fulham.
Oh, nothing. I want to say all of them didn't really so-called surprise me.
Really?
I would say because Bournemouth and Bournemouth is a regular
Everyone
up.
predicted Bournemouth to be bottom at some point.
Bournemouth had a good comeback,
Yeah.
and Forest, of course, they had a lot of signings. But I feel Fulham is the most um unexpected. I would say Fulham.
Fulham. Yeah. I mean, they finished 10 after coming back, and Mitrovic performing very well this season. And they have good signings like Andreas Pereira, former Man United. He performed really well. Willian, former Chelsea, also doing well over there.
Mhm.
But Mr. JB, what do you think? Like, out of the three newly promoted team that stay up, which one surprises you?
Well, yeah, for me, I have to say yes. Somewhat Fulham initially. Uh, I would say give credit to them, like what you said. I mean, finishing top 10, and lately they have been to be quite Man United. Fulham, I think they perform very well. but I must say that I agree with you with regards to Bournemouth.
Yeah,
I think they are the surprising one, and they kind of make the right managerial move, something like Aston Villa did, which is get rid of the old manager and the new one comes and manage to stabilize the ship, right?
yeah,
Uh, I think same can be said for Wolves as well. I think Loptegui have done a pretty good job for Wolves, but
yeah,
yeah, just to sum it up, I think yes, I have to agree with you. Bournemouth, to be finishing 15 is an achievement by itself and really a surprise. I initially wanted to say Fulham, but like what you said, because Fulham have some signings going on, and they managed to get the team together. So for them to get top 10 is quite an achievement as well. But yeah, I would give Bournemouth the benefit of the doubt. Forest kind of nicked it almost. I mean, if you look at the table, I think Forest only finished 1 point below Bournemouth.
yeah.
But Forest have a gazillion signings, so let's not
Exactly. I
go into
mean,
that.
they have
So
Keylor Navas in goal. They have so many actual player with qualities. But for you to still finish behind Bournemouth, back of what happened,
that's
yeah.
right. That's right. Yeah. So because of that, yep, I have to agree with you, Bournemouth on that.
All right, so Bournemouth takes the award for this. So that comes the end of the part one of our podcast. I mean, if you guys are following us on Spotify, thank you guys for following, and also do check out in YouTube. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe. We have part two coming up. We're gonna do a tier list of all the teams and basically just a short season review by the tier list and a simple mini game of start, burn, sell. So do stick around, and we'll see you guys next time. Take care.